Welcome. Thanks for being here tonight. Good evening, staff and observers. Really nice to have you. Welcome everyone who is joining us online. This is the regular meeting of the City Council, the City of Waverly, Iowa. Today is Monday, December 16th. It is 7 o'clock and this meeting is called to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members of the council, your city clerk has prepared for you an agenda. Can I have a motion?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? This will be a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you. You have in front of you a set of minutes from our last meeting. That would be November 25 as a study session, and again December 2nd, which was a regular meeting. Is anyone in the mood to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the November 25, 2024 study session minutes and the December 2, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? This will be a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you. Chaplain Maggie, welcome. It's great to have you back.
Yeah.
This is unfortunately your last meeting, so let's make it a good, long, hard one.
Yes, let's do it. Thanks
All
for
right.
welcoming me.
And I'd also like to welcome Jeff Forward, the new editor of the Waverly newspapers, who's joining us tonight. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Now is the time for public comments on any items that are not on the agenda. If you'd like to speak to something that is not on the agenda, please rise now. I see none, so we'll move on to the consent calendar, item F. You've got 9 things in front of you. This is a voice vote. Can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Thanks.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I hear none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That passes. We're now on to item G, regular business. The first item is the appointment of the fire chief and the other officers. Chief Bryce, do you want to come forward? Give us a greeting.
Here we are for another year. Exciting times, boys. But I look forward to working with you guys this year again, and hopefully we can make everything happen that we want to happen. Me and the mayor were talking. This year our officers are pretty much the same, other than a flop in the middle. Kevin Miller and Jeff Thier are assistant chiefs. Cody Schutte and Jason Dorman are our captains. And then Donnie Soash and Jordan Miller are our lieutenants. And then our secretary treasurer is Gary Dorman. Like I said, we got a good group over there. We're about 35 strong and still gaining a lot of interest, which is a good deal. And so, yeah.
Thank you. We are very grateful for every single member of the department. Can I have a motion to approve the appointment of the fire chief and officers?
I move approval of the appointment of the fire chief for 2025 and associate officers.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Item 2. This is Resolution 24-205. A resolution declaring the development agreement and minimum assessment agreement by and between the City of Waverly, Iowa and 1859 Ventures, a limited liability corporation, terminated in their entirety and approving and authorizing executive delivery and recording of notice of termination. May I have a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 24-205, a resolution declaring the development agreement and minimum assessment agreement by and between the City of Waverly, Iowa and 1859 Ventures, LLC, terminated in their entirety and approving and authorizing execution, delivery, and recording of the notice of termination. Second.
Thank you. That's on the table. I'm not confident that every single person watching on YouTube understands what we're doing. Do you want to very concisely tell us what's up, James?
Yes, sir. The 1859 Ventures is the name of the group that had bought the Red Fox Hotel in at the edge of town. Over the years, the project was not completed. The outstanding debt for that project has been assumed and taken over by another individual. Connie Tolan, Economic Development, myself met with those individuals. They're in agreement to not move forward with this project and development agreement because they are not going to continue to run that as a hotel, which I think is no surprise to anybody. And so as it transitions into apartments or whatever they choose to be, we then do not want to carry the liability sitting out here of this development agreement, so we are going to cease its existence with this vote tonight.
Thank you. Any discussion?
So the new owners will continue without a development agreement from the city.
Yes, sir.
And they are totally on board with us terminating this.
They had already signed it weeks ago, so
Excellent.
they're good with it.
Any more discussion? This will be a voice vote. Carla? I'm sorry, this will be a roll call vote. Carla?
Wolf,
Yes.
Rafi,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Kangas,
Yes.
Drinkow,
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
That was unanimous at 6-0. Item 3, Resolution 24-206, a resolution approving lease agreements between the City of Waverly and William A. Lowe, the City of Waverly, and James Jensen, and the City of Waverly and Lonnie Even for property adjacent to the airport. Can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 24-206, a resolution approving lease agreements between the City of Waverly and William A. Lowe of the City of Waverly and James P. Jensen and the City of Waverly and Lonnie L. Even for property adjacent to the airport for $243 per acre.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
This is pretty much what we do every year.
Yes, ma'am. We're just renewing our leases.
Well, and these are the people who own kind of the adjacent property, so it's easy for them to do. It would be hard for someone else to get in there to access and use this property. So
Yes, sir.
it's a logical use,
And these are not large tracts of
No.
land.
not huge tracts of
Buffer
land.
area around the airport.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to lease some land. Are you ready to vote? Carla?
Rafi,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas,
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
That was unanimous, thank you. Item 4. This is Resolution 24-207, a resolution approving a one-year annual lease renewal fee from G-Works of Omaha, Nebraska. I would need a motion.
I'll move approval of Resolution 24-207, a resolution approving a one-year annual license renewal fee, which includes product support from G-Works of Omaha, Nebraska for the term starting January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 for $33,000.
Thank you, is there a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm interested in some background on this because it went up and it sounds like there were some negotiations.
There was no negotiation. They raised it 80%. We don't have a choice but to pay it. And it's our financial systems, our software for everything that we're doing. We will be moving away from them. We have a budget to do that this year, but we still have to maintain the system till we can, so we don't have a lot of choice in this matter. We're not the only city that saw this. It is a statewide thing. They have really racked up some pricing on this, and I don't think they're gonna like the end result, because I don't think a lot of cities are gonna stay for this. That we are not staying with this group, and I think they may know that. If they don't, you should. If you're watching, we're not staying with you. And we will be moving to there's a couple systems we're looking at to try and do that as soon as we can, probably after the first year before we start digging into it though.
But this one is for the full year regardless when we switch over.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it looks like when we're done as far as having to maintain the past information they have of ours. I still think it's our information. We'll have to dig into what that looks like going forward, but we will not be staying with this financial system.
That was kind of my concern with the other part reading was the data and
Yes, sir.
who controls the data. That seemed like what they had us over the barrel on. They kind of.
We still have to
Right
work
now.
through that. You're absolutely correct.
And transitioning to a new financial program for all of the financial management. I know Val's very excited about this. Looking forward to it.
This doesn't happen at midnight on December 31, 2025. I mean, this is a process that you're going to have to go through at some point once we've determined who the new provider is. So I would anticipate we will have this done by 12/31/2025, so we don't have to pay them another $33,000 for
You are correct.
2026.
I will go back to pen and paper before I pay them another $33,000.
Val just turned a little pale.
Stock of our pens and paper, but we're not paying it again. Somehow we're gonna be done.
Okay, any more discussion? Carla?
Myers?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
Drinkow?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
Rafi?
Yes.
That passed unanimously, thank you. Number 5. This is Resolution 24208, a resolution approving change order number 7, change order number 8, and final pay request number 7 from Mott Construction Incorporated of Sumner, Iowa, and accept the Parks Maintenance Building remodel Phase 2 as complete. May I have a motion?
I will move approval of Resolution 24-208, a resolution approving change order number 7 for a decrease of $649.31, approving change order number 8 for an increase of $2,442.19, and approving pay request number 7 in the amount of $41,210.69 as the final pay request, and accept the Parks Maintenance Building remodel Phase 2 as complete.
Second.
Excellent. Any discussion?
Are we expecting a Phase 3?
Not in the buildings. The parking lot would probably be the next asset we'd have to look at adjusting to. I'll let Garrett answer if there's anything additional.
Correct, no, we're just looking at the parking lot for next year. We call it the parking lot, it's the area between the east and the west buildings. Very old, very run down, lots of issues with that.
It's the dirt spot without the gravel that you park on. It's not really much of a lot though, unfortunately.
It's where the asphalt used to be.
Yes, it's pretty rough, and it is the final piece of years of converting this into a proper establishment for leisure services. So I think overall it's went well. I think we're happy with the result.
Yeah,
It's just
turned out very nice.
be glad to be done. So
Yeah.
Well, I know there were certain things where we were talking about, can we stretch this out over many, many years? And we decided to try to get it done sooner rather than take a long time doing it. So I'm glad to see it over quickly.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote. Carla?
Kangas?
Yes.
Drinkow?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
That passed unanimously. We're at number 6, Resolution 24209. This is a resolution approving pay request number 2 as the final pay request from Mott Construction Incorporated of Sumner, Iowa, and accept all-inclusive playground bid package number 1 as complete. Is there a motion?
I move to approve Resolution 24-209, a resolution approving pay request number 2 for the amount of $147,415.15 as the final pay request from Mott Construction Incorporated of Sumner, Iowa, and accepting all-inclusive playground bid package number 2 as complete.
Second.
Any discussion?
Should that be number 1 or number 2? Because it's listed as number 1 in one place and number 2 in another place.
It should be bid package number 1.
Number 1, okay.
it's pay request number
Pay
2.
request.
It's bid
Pay
package
request number 2,
Oh,
right.
So this does not include the surface, which was another contractor, is that right?
That's correct, yep, the surface will be bid package number 2.
Any other discussion about the all-inclusive playground?
So is it complete now, other than you and I had talked about some benches being added at some point?
Correct, yes, the playground itself is complete, able to be played on. If you, would have been a nice day enough today to go out, but yes, it is able to be played on. Actually, last weekend there was lots of kids out playing on it. So, yep, it's ready to go. But we do look at, we're gonna plan on adding some benches in the future, maybe a shade structure or two. We're always looking for bench donations, so it'll be a good spot for that.
Any other discussion?
I was just thinking, it's nice, since we have a representative of the newspaper here, if, you know, there could be a nice announcement about the playground actually being available for people to play on.
Well, I remember Leisure Services having problems of lots of people wanting to donate benches like along the rail trail, and we were running out of places to put them.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that if you want to donate a bench to someone, we got a spot for you.
That's exactly right, and we've actually looked, we've got about 30 different spots out at Cedar River Park For bench donations, we've got 4 so far.
Okay.
Just want to say a thank you to our former mayor, Dean Soash, too. This was one of his, I think, the most important projects that he wanted to see completed, so hopefully he's been out there to take a peek at it.
Well, I think
Yes.
this was a huge donation from the Black Hawk Gaming Association, so I think they deserve a lot of thanks for
Yeah.
their participation.
Yeah, definitely made possible by the Black Hawk Gaming Association, Northeast Iowa Foundation, and also BGM donated some money as well.
You appear ready to vote? Carla?
Drinkow?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
Rafi?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
That passed unanimously. Item number 7, which is Resolution 24210. This is a resolution setting the 2025 leisure services fees. Can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 24-210, a resolution setting the 2025 leisure services fees.
Second.
Thank you. I think it's very generous of leisure services not to raise the rate on the pool day passes for the pool that's not open.
I thought you might.
Well, it's mainly cemetery fees, which is
Correct.
always interesting that leisure services is in charge of cemetery plots, but looks like you
Popular place in town.
People are dying to get in there.
there.
Oh,
Yep.
my God. We
So
couldn't
it looks
have went
like you're
a year
gonna,
without that one.
But you know,
And they're pretty
people,
leisurely there, too.
people who live in Waverly are not allowed to be buried in Harlington Cemetery.
No.
They have to die first.
right,
That's right.
oh boy. The editor is not gonna come back. We put this up. But it looks like you're gonna revisit maybe some of the recreation fees, it looked like from your memo.
I'm sorry.
Are you gonna revisit or look at whether any of the recreation fees are gonna get adjusted? I mean, this was just cemeteries for now.
Correct. For this year, we were just looking at cemetery. Next year, we may look at, shelter reservations, civic center reservations, those types of things. But we did look at those this year, but we're right on pace with neighboring towns. And so we didn't feel the need to raise those right now.
Be another thing to look at in 2 years, or not, next year for, like, Cole Park, Memorial Park, when the pool is open, and we get the new pool going, and those shelters may be much more popular again.
Any other discussion? Leisure services fees? Carla?
Bergen?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
Rafi?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
Drinkow?
Yes.
Thank you. That passed unanimously, taking us to number 8, which is Resolution 24211. Now, this is a resolution approving change order number 5 from Huff Contracting for the Waverly Library Expansion and Renovation Project. Can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 24-211, a resolution approving change order number 5 from Huff Contracting of Waterloo, Iowa for the Waverly Library Expansion, and Renovation Project for the amount of $15,345.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Director Meyer, we haven't heard from you for a long time. Do you want to speak to this?
This is just really a compilation of a couple of items for this change order, and it should be the last one that we see, assuming that one related to the lights gets taken care of by the lighting vendors. There's one kind of hanging out there, but this, for all practical purposes, should be the last one.
I guess that was my question, is how's it going with the discussion of who's going to pay
Yeah.
for the delay in the construction due to the lighting and the
Yes.
mix-up on what was sent and all that?
My understanding from the architect is that one or the other of the lighting companies is going to take care of that. That's what they're working out, is which percentage to take.
Is it safe to say, is it relatively true to say that project is complete?
Except for a few punch list items and the last official paperwork, Yes,
And it's a beautiful facility.
it is.
All right. Thank you, Director Meyer. Any other discussion? Carla, let's have a vote.
Wolf.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
That passed unanimously. Item 9, this is the third and final reading of ordinance 1158, an ordinance adopting City Code of the City of Waverly, Iowa. Can I have a motion?
I move to approve the third and final reading of ordinance 1158, an ordinance adopting the city code of the city of Waverly, Iowa.
Second.
Any discussion? This is a third reading of all the changes we've made to code this year. This is the last meeting of the year, so this is somewhat perfunctory. Roll call vote, please.
Rafi.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
That was unanimous. Item 10. This will be the third and final reading of ordinance 1159, an ordinance amending Waverly Municipal Code, Chapter 100, zoning, Section 100.21.07, subsection 2, yard requirements, exceptions. Can I have a motion?
I'll move approval of the third and final reading of ordinance 1159, an ordinance amending Waverly Municipal Code, Chapter 100 zoning, Section 100.21.07, subsection 2, yard requirements, exceptions.
Second.
Any discussion? Third time we've seen it.
It's about fences on corner lots.
Yep. Okay, Carla.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
That passed unanimously. Number 11, Resolution 24212. Now, this is a resolution approving the Waverly Municipal Airport's Federal Aviation Administration 5-year capital improvement plan for the federal fiscal year of 2026 through 2030. Can I have a motion?
I will move approval of Resolution 24-212, a resolution approving Waverly Municipal Airport's Federal Aviation Administration's 5-year capital improvement plan for federal fiscal year 2026 through 2030.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just that this doesn't mean this is all going to happen. This is sort of the wish list for the airport. But
This is-
I did appreciate how they put out how it's funded, if things are going to happen, what percentage is borne by the city and other government departments, so that's helpful.
Yeah, this is, the federal government uses this for their 5-year plans, so we have to, if we want to do something, it has to be here, but this doesn't mean we have to do it. But there's a certain amount of federal funding that we get, so we kind of have to say how we're planning on using it at such time.
Excellent. Any more discussion? Carla, let's have a roll call vote.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
That passed unanimously, taking us to number 12. Now, this is Resolution 24213, a resolution amending Resolution 24199, approving payment to Mail Services, a limited liability corporation, for expenses incurred during the 2024 election process for general obligation bond referendums. Can I have a motion to get this on the table?
I'll move to approve Resolution 24-213, a resolution amending Resolution 24-199 to approve payment to Mail Services LLC of Des Moines, Iowa for expenses incurred during the 2024 election process for general obligation bond referendums, public measure letter A and B, for the amount of $3,718.36.
Second.
Let's have some discussion.
We obviously tried to pay the county and they paid the wrong people.
Okay. Need a roll call vote for this.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
That passed unanimously. Now we're on to number 13, approval of mayoral appointments. May I have a motion?
Move approval of the following mayoral appointments: Jerry Hankner and Ron Reishi to be reappointed to the Waverly Golf Course Commission, terms ending 12/31/27. Randy Nyendorf, Sonia Bodine, and Joel Johnson to be reappointed to the Waverly Leisure Services Commission with terms ending 12/31/27. And Nick Himes to be reappointed to the Waverly Municipal Housing Commission for a term ending 1/2/2027.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I'd just like to point out that these are all reappointments. So these are all people who are enjoying their time serving their community so much they want to do it again. So if anybody's wondering will I enjoy serving on a commission, here's your evidence that you might.
I spoke to each one of these people, and they were very happy to be serving. I understand that we have a couple of openings on different commissions. Comes to mind right now is Airport. So if someone is interested in serving on the Airport Commission, I would love to hear from you. Okay, this requires a voice vote. You ready? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That passed unanimously. Taking us to number 14. This is a sad item. It comes to you with much regret. But this proposes the cancellation of December 23, 2024 study session meeting due to the holiday. Is there anyone who'd make a motion?
We move to approve to cancel the December 23, 2024 study session meeting due to the holiday.
Second.
Any discussion?
We're not going to cancel it due to lack of business.
Oh, no, oh, no.
We could come and make a lot of puns for James if that was.
Yeah.
You sure could.
He'll be at home.
Tell me all about him.
Any more discussion? This requires a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That passed unanimously. Number 15, fiscal year 26 budget and infrastructure project discussion. James, would you kick us off?
Sure. We just wanted to bring you some of the early items we're seeing in the fiscal 26 budget, some of the projections, what we think we might have to deal with this year, and then we'll talk through a handful of projects we may or may not end up doing, depending on what the numbers look like. It's no secret to anybody, there's been comments from the speaker and the governor that the state legislature plans to take property taxes head on. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means for what'll happen to cities. I don't know what that's going to look like. But it's a continuation of things we've been seeing for the last number of years. Attempts to reduce the amount of property taxes paid. We've talked exclusively about House File 718 for quite a while. It caused us to have one referendum, which was partially successful this year instead of multiple dates. It capped the limit of growth you can have without penalizing you for doing so. A whole lot of things went into that. I assume this bill will be some similar type of things in an effort to curb the amount of property tax that people are paying. The hard part is property tax pays for a lot of things in the communities. I don't know in the end what the goal is for the legislature or what they want cities to look like when this is all over. I think if we knew an end game, we'd be able to assist easier to getting there, but we simply don't. So we'll kind of have to wait and see. Hopefully we're not done with our budget and then it comes out, because that can happen sometimes. They don't have a session deadline like we have a budget submission deadline, but we'll just kind of keep working forward. We've seen some increases in the last couple of years. We took a lot of drastic measures last year. I'm hoping that was enough to get us through this year as well. I think it hopefully should be. We don't have any early indication of that. We're still just starting budget meetings today with different departments, and we'll continue throughout the week. I do know that, right off the bat, we are seeing some significant increases in certain areas that we can't really do anything about. Some of the early estimates on our health insurance are in the 15 to 18% range. Last year, we were predicted to be 8, it came in at 11. That was not a pleasant time. This is more 15, 18. So it's not going to be a good number for us necessarily. You just saw the software increase, the annual fee on G-Works. Others will follow suit, maybe not in that magnitude, but probably in that percentage. I do think you're going to see that continue to happen. That seems to be the new trend. It's not so much installing it as maintaining it when you're done with it. So getting it is easy. It's the going forward that's become difficult, the costing. Our property liability insurance is going up probably 20% or more, maybe 30%. We're still waiting to see the numbers on that. From last year to the current year, it was an $80,000 increase. There could be something similar to that. So we're already in the hole quite a few $100,000 before we even start the process. And we will be bidding our audit out again. The last time we bid it, we had a $30,000 increase. Something similar could happen next year for this audit. we will see. There's a very limited number of audit firms that seem to want to do government accounting. And the last time we bid it, we had one. It was our incumbent, thankfully. And so I don't know if it'll be better or not this year, but a lot of my peers are not seeing multiple bidders, unfortunately. And so you're getting what you get. And again, we have to have an audit. We have to bid that audit out. We're going to try and do a longer term this time. Because I think the shorter term does scare away some audit firms because they know in a few years you're going to have to do this all over again. So we're going to attempt to get it a much longer term if we can. And, forget it. And so we're going to see what that looks like too. But those are the kind of things that just early on, you know it's going to be a little rougher. You're just going to have that deficit to start with. So we'll figure that out. It's kind of an operational thing. We already have contracts set for most staff. Non-bargaining staff are going to be similar in nature. We'll look at what that difference is when we get to budget. But the main reason we're going to talk tonight is to kind of introduce some of the projects that we may be looking at, things that we're going forward. Obviously, we have the pool that we will try and figure out how to best fund that going forward. That's a $9 million project. The golf club, clubhouse, did not pass a referendum. We will probably attempt another run at that next year when the pool is not on the ballot with it. But for this year, one of the other projects we may be looking at is the 39th Street, which is the one on the east side of town that runs by the new county fairgrounds. It's in very rough shape. It's been busted up quite a bit, whether it's the additional traffic or just the condition in general. I think, Justin, was that steel coated to start with?
Yeah, it's over top, many years of seal coat.
So it's not really a paved road, it's steel coated. It takes the load pretty well, but it's gonna need to be redone. That's been on the plan for quite a while. We've talked to the county about possibly joining in on that project. And instead of going just to city limits, they would take it all the way to Bremer Road, which would make a nice cut-through area instead of bringing bigger truck traffic down through the city. They seem like they agree with it. They're gonna look into what it looks like, get their own engineering opinions. We have our engineering estimates already in, and then we'll kind of see if we go forward jointly with that. That's probably the top project we would want to look at in sequence if we're gonna do another one like that. The other one would be our continuation of the rail trail bridges. We will have number 2, 3, and 4 done this year. There's only 2 left that we would do, and that's Ivanhoe and Cemetery trail bridges. They probably could be $1 million when it's all said and done. I think 39th Street will be about $1.5 million with engineering and everything included. But we could do engineering first. We'll see if we can break that up somehow. But the trail bridges, I would put it close to $1 million. Ivanhoe is the second largest one. We may hold off though for a year, depending on what the reports are. We have bridge inspections done this year. We have them done every couple of years. We'll know the results of that. And if there's not a load limit issue or anything, just because we are going to be so big in the bond issue, and this will take up so much room as well, I will look at possibly recommending we hold off 1 year on those. We'll see what the reports come back and see if they'll withstand another year of use out there, those wooden bridges.
So you're talking about that's Ivanhoe and Cemetery run both in the same year?
Absolutely. Since they're next to each other, it's a good quantity of scale to do it. And that's the same way we did the 3 this year. They're 3 in a row. You're shutting down the trail for less time. It might be better to let it have a year and breathe and people get to use it again instead of yet taking out another year. But we'll see what that looks like and what the numbers come in. Our growth will determine a lot of this, kind of what it's going to do to the overall picture for the city financially. And we'll look at our levies and everything else. But from the capital side, again, that pool is a big one. And we know that. We don't want to overburden other projects that are going to be going forward. So one that we kind of discussed a little bit today is the water building next door. The possibility of starting that process, I don't think it would be a significant project. If anything comes from that, I would look at wanting to stabilize the generator portion of it, the walls that are there. And maybe that's enough for now, just to get that squared away so it's not eroding anymore. That's kind of what we're hoping to do. But we will know probably mid-January what those numbers are. We gave a lot of good feedback today to that group. And I think they're gonna go and give us a bunch of scenarios that might be possible. And then we'll just decide if it fits into our plan or not as we kind of shuffle through these. So these are in no particular order. It's just, we'll see what that puzzle looks like when we get there. We do have a subdivision in the northeast. I think it's Heinz Edition, you would call it. I don't know what it officially is called, but they're still on septic and rural water, not rural water, the company, but their own wells. With the water and sewer right across the street, right there, I think it's probably time we look at bringing them into the city system. That's a different kind of funding. It'd be more of a revenue bond. And water sewer, we'd have assessments they'd have to work through. But we do have a developer in that area that's wanting to split off some areas and kind of bring water through, so we're gonna try and see what that looks like.
Which is Heinz Edition again?
Across,
Where
it's
is
on
it?
Horton Road.
It's across from the Catholic Church.
Okay, that one.
Onto the west
Yep.
there. So it's a good sized subdivision, probably the biggest one we have that's still on septic and wells. It's hard because if you just put in a new septic system, you're not gonna probably hook on. But if it's going out, you're gonna wanna hook on right now.
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
gonna be a mixture of, it'll never be cheaper to do it the time we do it. So even if it's a good system yet, I would hope people still wanna just hook on to be done and not have to worry about it anymore, but
We just need to connect to the subdivision, or do we need to
there's
pull?
nothing there.
So we're gonna have to go through all those.
We're gonna have to bring it across, and bring it up into the subdivision, take it all the way through the streets. I mean, they'll have to figure out, whoever engineers it, what the most efficient way is to bring in water, sewer, how to route it most efficiently, the whole nine yards, I guess.
And you said there's a developer out that direction interested in doing some work? Are they?
Splitting some lots off and possibly putting a house or so in up on the northwest side of it. And so they would have to then somehow get water to it as well, and sewer. And so we're depending on what their thoughts are timing wise. We'd wanna look at possibly incorporating that into this project. See if there'd be some cost sharing possibly. It's easier honestly if we do it, because then the assessment and everything is consistent. Cause someone else may not want to assess it, and then it gets to be a fairness issue, but we'll work through that. Again, possibility. That one's probably over 2 million. I'd say when everything's said and done, could be 2.5, somewhere there. And again, these are very broad estimates. We've not done a formal study of them. And then some of the smaller projects we looked at, these are not necessarily large projects, but I think they have an impact. That would be nice to get a few of these done if possible sometime soon. When we look at the river usage, and if you go and talk to people that have used the dock up by Waverly Utilities, it's pretty tough now. And as the water has lowered, you're having to back in further to get the boats off the trailers, and they're starting to fall off that concrete edge. And I think that's something we need to address. There's some grant funding opportunities we're gonna look at. Along with that, I would kind of like to pave that parking lot. Being it's gravel, it's washing out, it's kind of tough in the winter if there's people wanting to get down there, trying to keep that open. I think it's something that we should start looking at, is try and hard surface a lot of our bigger lots. Try to set an example as we expect other people to hard surface their areas and lots and they can build them. So that's one of them I would like to do at some point. We talked briefly about leisure services, that parking lot, kind of that final phase, if you want to call it that, for that headquarters there. That'd be another one. I would almost pair those two up. I think we'll get some good bidding, some good economies of scale on that. Cost per unit should be really good with our normal patching and paving, and just be a little bit bigger. But the golf course, as you recall, every 3 years roughly, we do a small note for equipment. We have a consistent amount each year that we're paying towards it, and then we're not having spikes and valleys on when we acquire equipment. We are due to do that again. We're kind of going through inventory now to see what is ready. Some pieces are very ready. We don't know if they'll make it another year. Others, we're gonna take a look at, can we nurse them through? But we would do a 3 or 4 year note on that. That's usually a couple $100,000. And the parking lots, I would put both of those at the $250,000 or more right up in there, size for those projects.
Each, or?
Yeah, each for sure. Boat dock, maybe even a little more than that. Could be 3 to 4. We're not really sure on the footage and how that would go, and it kind of has that wing that comes over to the south and what we do that. And so there's a little bit, do you curb it, do you not, there's just some things we want to look at and decide on that. We'll have that ready for you come January, but this is just to let you know what we're looking at. At the sewer plant, WPC, there is a storage tank that we do need to add out there. It's about 140,000, and that would probably most likely come from sewer funds, things of that nature. But that is one that we'd like to get done there. It's a storage issue, so we're gonna wanna do that. And then the last one I'll probably bring up tonight, and we'll talk about a few of the future ones, but Eastgate Lift Station. That's the far east side of town. There's a lift station out there. It does get overwhelmed at times. And we're looking at probably about 100,000 for the engineering in that, I'd say, give or take. Maybe a little more, a little less, but probably a little more. To get that figured out so we can start looking at the correct sizing of it, repair of it, replacement potentially. We have two that we're gonna try and do. The other one is much larger. We're gonna start with this one out here in the east side and see what it does look like and see if we can't get that figured out first. And again, it's a different funding source, possibly an enterprise fund bond, something along that line. But that'd be about, like I said, 120,000, let's say.
Is that one that would be impacted by the fair usage for the week plus? of the
Absolutely.
fair?
Absolutely. And so that's kind of looming as well. It already has issues in a sense with what's out there now, but as businesses have relocated there, and if it does start to expand, or even if you saw more housing to the south side there, which I think is very possible someday, that all would have to be incorporated into that. But yeah, the fair will definitely impact that going forward. It'll be at times, but not most of the
Yeah,
time.
I mean,
Right? It
there'd
will
be a clear spike when the fair is actually
Yeah.
in operation, and that's gonna impact it. And
Absolutely. So those are probably the most current ones we're going to look at this year. Future ones, we talked about golf clubhouse. We'll take another shot at that, see what that looks like. The rail trail bridge, that we talk about all the time. I still think that's a number of years out. I don't think it's due anytime soon necessarily. We'll see what the inspections keep bringing up on there, see if it's worsened at all. I think just having the bicycle and foot traffic and the occasional winter bus traffic has not hurt it, but again, we'll see what it looks like when we get the full inspections done of that. The Memorial Park itself, Kids Kingdom will need to be done probably in another year or so to offset the pool. That's well over $1 million, there's no question. You'll have multiple shelters that are gonna be done in there. Parking lots will be finished out. We may be looking at our golf maintenance building that is across the street from the hospital. At one time, there was interest in them possibly purchasing that. I think that interest has returned. We need to have that discussion about what that would mean if that does happen, because we would then probably move that building into Memorial Park and vacate that parking lot to the hospital for a fee. We're not doing it for free. And look at putting that building probably on the golf course side so that they can get hit by golf balls instead of cars and things. We would probably run that up that number 3 fairway instead, right there on that side of the building. But we'll have to look at that too. Again, that's over $1 million for sure. It will take a referendum if we're not able to find funding to offset the balance. It would not have to be a referendum, and that's kind of what we're hoping to. I don't want to put a building out there to be voted on, but technically, that's what it would be if we don't have funding from another source. And then the Kids Kingdom, like I said, is a big one. Whether or not we do another small splash pad, that's all up in the air right now. I don't know if we'll do that depending on what the other splash pad kind of looks like or how it factors in. Cemetery roads, we're looking to expand those once the plotting is done, and so that's gonna be a little bit of a construction issue too. And then probably the last one would be, God dare I say it, pickleball courts. If we have room, if there's a space, we'll see what it looks like. How many there is, I don't know, but that's not the top of my list right now. I put Kids Kingdom and some of the other areas ahead of that, so we can get that kind of finished out and finalized, so we get that back to normal somewhat once the pool is finished. But that's enough, I think. That's a pretty good list, and granted, this all cannot be done at once. It'll be some puzzle that'll be put together. What do we think should, what won't we? You guys will set those priorities, kind of negotiate that out, come budget in January. But it's just a list of things that we've identified, some substantial, some maybe not financially substantial in the scheme of it, but yet I think they'll make an impact that'll help a lot of different people, and it'll be something very visible to see that. One of the other small ones we've not looked at completely yet would be possibly seal coating the entire soccer complex parking area. Since we have that now, I think it's kind of a hodgepodge that's coupled together. It'd be nice to have a consistent, complete parking lot instead of 2 different ones that have been different materials. So we'll look at that as well, but I don't think that's near as much a cost to do that, seal coating versus asphalt. I could look at both, but I just don't know if it's needed as few times it's played on other than the summer peak. That's probably the list of projects we have for you. I mean, gladly answer any questions we can or any comments or if there's anything we missed. I don't know what that would be, but I mean, we'll certainly add it in, so.
We have our normal seal coating.
Oh, yeah.
All those other programs.
Still have all that going on, seal coating.
And
equipment.
alleyways.
Yeah.
Alleyway construction.
So, I've been trying to look at local option sales tax and that fund, because obviously we're paying Ball Diamonds down with that. A portion of that would go to the pool in 6 years, let's say, 5, 6 years, we talked about that. We got a lot of pressure on that fund right now, a lot of burden, so if we do alleys, I would do 1 more year of it, and then I'd pull back, because I don't wanna compromise that fund going forward, we need that for a couple other items. Some of the smaller things we're seeing, we wanna shift into some other areas as well and get away from that fund, because I think, again, it's gonna put too much pressure on it, and it can only take what it can take. And so we've gone out about 7 years, it's gonna get real shaky, in about 5, 6 years, if we don't start to pull back a little bit, so that would be our goal, is maybe 1 more year of alleys. We'd look at sidewalks, different funding source potentially, see what it looks like. We're just very limited in where money can come from, and I think it's gonna be even more limited as we move forward, depending on what the legislature does, so. We're mindful of that, so we're gonna try and look at that and get a better plan together by the time we get together in January, and see what we can and can't do, and see what it looks like if we extrapolate that out for 6, 7 years to preserve that fund, make sure it's gonna be there as it needs to be for some of the debt we've committed to.
Did you want to include First Home Park on this list?
For
Projects.
By insurance, isn't it?
insurance should take care of that, I hope. Do you have an update at all, Garrett?
So we're working through First Home Park right now, but yes, insurance will cover everything that we are planning on doing. Any additions that we have, like we're looking at a new basketball hoop and things like that, that insurance won't cover, we will have budgeted, and that would actually be something that we would apply for a grant for.
Okay, thank you.
Do you hear any rumblings about the legislature's intentions for loss this coming session?
No, we always know it's a possibility. And as we've heard in the past, they will pull it in and then give it back and so forth, and that sounds wonderful. I don't know why you would do it unless some of you're not gonna give it back. Why would you even take it and do this whole game then? But I don't know what that's gonna look like. My fear is, the way House File 718 was done, it's at the very end, cloak of darkness, handshake deal, wink wink, and that's how it was done. There wasn't much debate, there was not a lot of notice, and I just don't want that to be the way that we operate going forward as a legislature. That is the pattern we are seeing, and I would hope that something as big as some of these things that we're talking about would not be done that way. I hope that we're better than that, but we've not proven that in the past, and my fear is that will continue to be the case, and I just hope that there's some at least discussion. My league to have those discussions about what the impact will be, but in the past, we simply haven't been, and we're trying to change that. We're looking for solutions too. We know what the writing is. We don't have a choice in some of this. But if there's a way to make it more acceptable or to find a different route and how to get there so it actually works, because some of the claims you hear about why this was done never turns out to be the right case. It's never the way they said it's gonna be, ever. It's always short, it never produced that much. There's a list of them we can walk through, but I don't wanna do that tonight. And so we'll hope that they let us in on the conversation and maybe help them do something that works instead of just doing something to say we did something. So, appreciate what they do in the morning, but that's difficult when you're sitting here just waiting and not knowing what's gonna happen. And it does affect, well, for us, it affects 10,000 citizens. These are not little projects that nobody's gonna notice.
So we talked about spending projects here, but when do you get the numbers from the state on what our revenue looks like?
We will get our valuation numbers by January 1. Legally, we have to have it by January 1st.
Okay.
And then we'll start to look at where budget is, where it's sitting, revenue expenditure. What does that look like apart from our growth? We've already seen our rollback came in. It's higher this year, which it means taxes are going up. People can complain all they want. They're gonna go up no matter what we do. You can't cut it enough to make them not go up because a rollback is that powerful.
Yeah.
Last year taxes went down because a rollback plummeted. That'll make a move more than anything we can do in this table. I hate to tell you that, it does. And so by them going up, your properties are taxed higher than they were last year regardless. That's the way the state has done it. It's not something we decide, it's Department of Revenue. We'll apply that in, we'll take what the taxable value is, it's allotted to us by valuation. We'll place it against the expenditures, the net that we need, and we'll adjust into a levy rate. once we see what that looks like, then it comes January and we'll start to negotiate with you.
Right.
Where do you want it to end up, so. Fund balance will be the key again this year, our general fund especially. I think we look better than we did last year, starting. We'll have to see what the requests are coming in. Staff is well aware of this, so we'll
You
just
know
have
what,
to take a hard look at it.
what was the rollback rate?
Went from 46 and change to 47 and change. That's a
Okay.
1% or 1 point increase, I guess you'd say. So ag went up, I think, a couple points or so, to 73 or something like that. So that's where we sit. Like I said, we'll do our best. We'll bring you something good. We'll have a nice bow on it, hopefully, and some areas to discuss, some final things to work through, but you'll walk through every penny of it like you always do, January 25th.
You got a lot of work to do between January 1 and January 25th.
Yes, sir, we do.
We'll try not bugging you.
No, you'll be fine. I have Valerie.
We'll try not bugging you.
Don't bother her either. Bother me all you want, don't bother her.
Any more discussion on upcoming projects? I draw your attention then to item H, reports from the different boards and commissions. If there are any questions or comments there? I hear none. We'll turn to item I, staff reports. James?
With the holidays coming up, Christmas Eve garbage and recycling pickup, which is Tuesday, will be picked up on Monday. And then with that being said, Christmas Days, garbage and recycling will be picked up on Thursday. And then New Year's Day, garbage only will be picked up on Wednesday, or it is Wednesday, it'll be picked up on Thursday, the day after.
Even though the all-inclusive playground is open and able to be played on, we are planning on having a grand opening sometime this spring for it, just to formally recognize its opening and the folks who donated and some of the people who made it possible. So we obviously don't have a date on that yet. We're gonna wait until it gets nice out.
Ladies, anything? That's all we have tonight, sir.
Thank you. City Council comments, item J. Councilperson Bergen.
So yesterday I was at the Wartburg Winter Commencement, so the graduation for those seniors, and there were over 50 Wartburg seniors who graduated, but there were also two individuals who were honored for Wartburg medals, Gloria Campbell and Lynn Olson. Lynn Olson is someone near and dear to my heart because he's a math professor. He, in essence, hired me. He's probably the number one person most responsible for me coming to Waverly.
That's the guy.
That's the guy. Well, and he was honored for the Wartburg medal. Lynn Olson is also suffering the throes of Parkinson's, so he is not doing well health-wise, but I'm very pleased that he was able to be honored while he was still cognizant enough to be aware of the award that he was receiving. And I think the lesson I want us to remember is that if there's something kind that you want to do for someone, if you want to give someone a gift, if you want to honor someone, do it now, don't wait. Because the time we have with each other is special, it is treasured, and don't wait to do something nice for the people around you. So on that, in the vein of the Christmas season, so the people you have around you, treasure them and wish them a Merry Christmas and be thankful of the people around you that you love. And anyone who wants to discuss City Council business, I will be at the Wooden Foot after the meeting.
Thank you. Councilperson Meyer.
Nothing for me tonight.
Councilperson Kangas.
I was just going to wish everyone Merry Christmas and Happy New Year since we're not going to meet again this year. Also a reminder that fireworks for January 1st.
Jesus.
We do have ordinance that permits that, if you still have some left over. The other thing that kind of came to mind with that this week was with all of the discussion of various wonderful aerial vehicles on the East Coast and whatnot. One of the things that popped in my mind, or was within some of the discussions, was a number of places that are using drones for light shows as opposed to fireworks. And I'm sure the FAA has certain regulations in place for some of those, but is that something that we as a city need to look at, or is there state, I mean, something to consider? Certainly, I've seen a couple of them. I've been to a couple ballparks where they've done like drone shows after games instead of fireworks. Very impressive what they can do with those things. Actually fairly scary when you consider what might be manipulated into militaristic type uses for them, with how precise their light shows can be. Certainly it would solve a lot of our issues in terms of the explosions and sound of fireworks that go off. But it would just be something I wonder if we need to look at, or if that's something at the state level, or just something to check in on, that we might want to look at addressing.
Thank you. Councilperson Drenko.
Well, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy holidays, and other than that, I would like to complain, but I have nothing to complain about, so I will.
You're not trying hard enough.
Councilperson Rathi.
I want to thank everybody that helped out last Thursday night with Christmas on Main. It was very cold. But the chamber did a great job. I have new respect for how much it takes to organize that event. And we had volunteers on the bridge to make sure the Santa shuttle didn't run over anyone. Thanks to Brian for helping out. We had Kiwanis members and people from Exchange Club and whoever I could twist their arms into helping with that. But also thanks to the city Public Works, Leisure Services, Police Department, everybody really helped out to make it a successful event. Also, just want to make people aware of some of the cultural offerings we have in town. This weekend, the weather was obviously horrible, but there was a really nice symphony concert on Saturday afternoon and a chamber music series that is free and happens 5 or 6 times a year. That was on Sunday afternoon. So right here in Little Waverly, Iowa, we had really first-class music offerings. So just put that out there for people to keep an eye on their schedules in 2025.
Thank you. Councilperson Wolf.
Happy holidays, and remember to shop local. Our businesses are hurting with the bridge out, and they really need our help. And I will be at Get Roasted from 11:30 to 1 on Friday for any city business.
Thank you. Councilperson Maggie.
Just sharing gratitude again for Brian asking me to be with you all the last 2 sessions, and then gratitude for so much that I love about Waverly. I love the library. I absolutely love our park systems and the trails. As a runner, that's very dear to me. I absolutely love it when my toilet flushes and my garbage gets picked up. I have not had to use the police yet, but just gratitude for you all for all that you all do. I know that this is often thankless work, so just gratitude and appreciation.
Thank you, Chaplain. I'd like to talk about the weather. Thursday, it was just plain cold, but all those volunteers showed up and lots of shoppers showed up to go downtown. I just really appreciate everyone who made that commitment. And it was nice to see downtown crowded. Saturday, the weather was terrible, but the streets were clear in no time because they'd laid down the brine before and they were doing their hard work during. So I want to give a special shout out to Public Works and to law enforcement, kept everyone safe and made the roads happen. That's great. Other than that, as your mayor and pastor, I'd like to say to you and your families, have a most blessed Christmas and celebrate whatever holiday you do. And Waverly, be kind. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? We are adjourned.